All right, ready?
Okay. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Gina G, and welcome to the 4th episode of Reppin' with Gina G, a show where I rep my teams by the Bay. In this episode, I'll be repping the San Francisco 49ers. And as you may or may not know, I've been a diehard Niners fan since 1981. You know, the catch. Yes, I watched the catch, and I've been through it since 5 Super Bowls. So yeah, we need to get back to the promised land. So it's football season, and I'll be joined by an array of guests tonight, whatever time you're watching this. It's the first game of the 2022 49ers season, and it's week 1 against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. And this is the only time the 49ers will be meeting the Bears this NFL season. They did play the Bears last season at Soldier Field as well. But Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback last time. And now we have a new quarterback, Trey Lance. We can talk a little bit about that later in the episode if we want to. We're going to have some fun tonight because on my show, I bring in opposing teams' fans. Now, we don't have full out drama, but we do talk some shit within our own divisions. But if we want to go back and forth, hey, I welcome it. And please join us in the chat, or if you're watching this on the playback, please leave a comment. So without further ado, let's start by introducing my guests, repping the Chicago Bears. Let's bring in Andy, aka NFL Outdated. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Bear down.
Bear down is right. What's up? And I'll have you plug all your stuff towards the end of the show. But thank you. Good seeing you again, as always. We do have someone joining in with you so that you're not all alone. I know that you can't stand on your own 2 feet against a whole gang of people. But
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Yes. And next joining me, some 49er faithful family. Let's start with Marc Adams, aka 49er Camelot. What's up, Marc?
Not much. How's it going, Gina?
I'm doing good. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for joining. And next we have another family member, if I do say so. He's co-hosted with me on my other show, Reppin' and NorCal Sports, and he's actually going to take over that show for me on IE Sports Radio Network. Welcome to the show, Jorge Castillo, aka East Bay Jorge. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Gina. What's up, guys?
What's up, Jorge? Hey. And last but certainly not least is my co-conspirator and the guy that makes this whole engine run on Driving to the Top Productions. What's up, Adam?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? I am wearing a Najee Harris shirt tonight, so it is Bay kind of. It is opening week, so I did ask Gina if I could wear my jersey tonight. Sure.
Of course.
If there's any bad comments about Najee Harris, blame the person on that side.
And that's totally fine.
And
and here comes Adam. Adam is our other Chicago Bears fan, and Matt Gonzalez says Jorge is my goat. I love it. He's already got a comment, and so. Welcome, Adam Karnik from IE Sports Radio Chi-Town Weekly, my colleague. What's up, Adam?
Hey, Gina. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. Getting kiddo to bed can be a fun adventure sometimes.
I totally understand. I was once there myself. As a parent, I totally get it, but no problem at all. Actually, you're just in time. So let me introduce you to everybody. This is in the Steelers jersey. This is Adam. He
What's
is
up,
the
Adam?
guy that runs the Driving to the Top Productions Network. And this is your new friend, NFL Outdated Andy, who is a fellow Chicago Bears fan.
As you see with the Walter Payton jersey on.
Well, I have a little bit of an issue here. I feel like you guys have separated us. I mean, we need to collaborate here. So
All right, we'll bridge the gap.
let's do it.
And then we have in the red shirt 49ers fan, Jorge Castillo. And then we have Marc, aka 49ers Camelot, over there in the white
What's up,
t-shirt.
Adam?
Evening.
So there we have it. And let me see here. I got my little spiel. Before we get to the questions and topics, I wanted to show you guys what my good friend Michelle, known on Twitter as Red Jet Girl 15, she has made a 49ers hype video. I totally am so into this. I saw it. It's the bomb. I want to kick off the 49ers season showing this video. So if you guys just hang on for 1 second, I can show you what this beautiful video looks like. And here we go.
Nice.
So, 49er fans, how we feeling?
Ready to roll.
Let's
Oh,
go.
it said made by
Good.
iPhone.
Tell you
Made
what,
by
I'm,
what?
iPhone.
I'm a 49er fan when it comes to the playoffs, especially when it's versus Aaron Rodgers. So
When Robbie Gold is kicking Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs, I'm all for it.
yes.
I hear you on that. And I just want to show love to my girl, Michelle. She did an amazing job putting that together. And she did give credit to the people that she took the images from, but she, put that all those images together. So, congratulations, girl. I got to show you love. So yeah, definitely gets me hyped. Anyways, thank you so much for watching that. And I'm glad to have you all on the show for week 1 of the NFL season, kicking off the 49ers against the Chicago Bears. And I want to let everyone know in the chat that, if you guys got something to say, if you have a burning question, please type in burning next to it, because we can't get every question out there. We've got to, we're trying to streamline everything. I just want to say thank you for being here with us. Now, let's get into it. Starting with the Bears, you guys, and this is for everybody to answer. So don't feel like you have to, but what can we expect from Justin Fields and the offense? Either, if you want to speak on the game this Sunday, or just in general this season. But let's start off, maybe just this game. Whoever wants to go.
Well, first of all, it's been so funny watching the preseason and just being floored by what other teams would consider competence of just, hey, the offense is able to get in and out of the huddle and lined up without committing a penalty. They're able to do it with more than 2 seconds left on the play clock. This is amazing. And every other team is going, yeah, we figured out how to do that 30 years ago. Why are you guys so excited about this? But as far as Justin is concerned, I'm excited to see an offense that is tailored with his skill set in mind. One of the problems last season was that former head coach Matt Nagy was so excited to draft Justin Fields, but then didn't want to do anything to actually prepare him to play. It was just, no, you're supposed to sit in the drawer for 15 weeks and then I'll come get you when I decide I want you. And instead of, hey, circumstances are saying we should play this kid, so let's actually build the offense and play the kid. So it's nice to see that new offensive coordinator Luke Getsy is actually looking at, well, here's what Fields can do well right now, so let's do those rather than trying to force a square peg into a round hole in the offense.
Yeah, I totally agree with Adam there, and I think I saw enough from last year that he had, a lot of like glimpses of, some just solid play and just playmaking ability. And obviously there's a lot that aside from the coaching that he needed to work on as well, making the right reads, all those things. But it's so helpful when you do have an offensive coordinator that is going to look at what he does best and just let him go. And really, it's something about confidence when you have, confidence in your head coach and vice versa. That's huge. I mean, last year we heard on the headsets just how like confusing it was from the coaches and for a young quarterback, I mean, that's hard. I mean, for any quarterback, that's hard. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I don't know about Adam, but I'm not necessarily looking at the season wins and losses, but I'm looking at, just all those things, the reads that he's going to make and, just, what he's going to do within the offense. And obviously it starts with coaching and them putting him in the best place to succeed.
How much is Valelis Jones going to hurt not being able to play this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, we lost Adam. I'm going to say, obviously, it's going to be interesting not having him, but we'll see, and that's going to be the big thing. Like, what other wide receivers are going to step up, right? But looking at this game, when it's going to be, I think, a 90% chance it's going to rain. So that's going to be interesting. I think what they do with Mooney on that, and maybe some of the other wide receivers as well. But really, Montgomery, and getting that running game going, I think will be huge in the long run for Fields' development as well.
How do you guys like the targets that Fields has? It's Mooney, who's more of like the shifty speed guy, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his first name. When we did the live fantasy draft, I call him Equilibrium Brown or Equilibrium St. Brown.
I couldn't say his name either.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah. How do you guys? He's more of the big. He's a Notre Dame guy, so I know he's probably local to a lot of the Bears fans. He's more of a big target guy, right?
Yeah, a little bit bigger. Am I able to be heard now? I had to switch halfway through there. Oh, awesome. Cool. Yeah. The NFC North certainly has the all unique name wide receiver core this year. You got Equimenius St. Brown with the Bears. You got Equimenius with the Bears, Amon-Ra, the Egyptian sun god over in Detroit. You got all kinds of fun names in the NFC North this year in wide receivers. I like Darnell Mooney. I don't like him as a number one wide receiver. I think that Mooney can be a guy you can win with as a number two or a number three. I'd love for him to prove me wrong, but I think he's going to be playing out of position in the X wide receiver spot primarily this season. But we'll see.
So I was on that the same camp too, but going in and see him at training camp, and you just see that he's kind of got that chip on his shoulder, and I like that in a wide receiver. He's not going to be the traditional kind of big guy or whatever. Brandon Marshall that we've had in the past or whatever. And that's so I like Mooney developing into a number one, but definitely, going forward, we're going to need a taller wide receiver, another talented wide receiver. To Adam's point, the other Adam, Bayless Jones, not being in the first game, I think that will hurt overall as well. But like I said, with it being a rainy game, hopefully they get Montgomery going and maybe even get Treston Ebner kind of involved as well. And I'm really excited to see kind of how they're going to have him involved in the offense as well. And hopefully, I mean, in the past, the Bears have been, just kind of blah, as far as offense, and that's Nagy, right? And if they can kind of, switch things up and really put things in Getsy's hands and Fields in the other playmakers and really kind of develop something, I think it'll be huge all around and just being unpredictable as well.
The loss of Jesse James, is Cole Kmet still going to be valuable?
Oh, I think Cole Kmet is going to be even more valuable. I mean, Cole Kmet got used last year between the 20s, and then they'd get into the red zone and it'd be, okay, Jimmy Graham, this is the only reason you're on the team anymore, is to be in the red zone and catch these touchdown passes. So in you go, Cole Kmet comes out. Now Jimmy Graham's gone. Al, I hope you agree with me here. Thank goodness. That was a lot of money spent on a very old and no longer as useful weapon. So I'd like to see Kmet take the next step here and be a little more versatile, be used a little bit more. It might be hopefully we're going to learn a lot about Kmet this season and what exactly is there at the tight end position in Kmet, because otherwise they're very, very thin at tight end. I mean, it's Kmet and basically that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's Dante Pettis revenge game. I can feel it. He's gonna do the kitty.
I was gonna ask about that. Like, are we gonna see any high fiving or anything? Like, because we constantly joke, like 49er fans are like, Dante Pettis, the 49ers legend, and it's like sarcastic, right, Jorge and Marc?
Well, one of my main questions is Kyler Gordon going to get burned again like last year against Debo? Like you said, it's going to be raining, but I mean, Debo burned this team. I think 117 yards or something, 71 yards and a touchdown.
That's why I'm really excited to see kind of what Jaquan Brisker can do, and having Jalen Johnson, just having that. They're young, right? But they're really ripe to take that next step, and part of it because I mean. Jalen Johnson was kind of all they had last year, right? And so you add these other young players that have that edge, and it's going to be important, I think, to really kind of establish that right early on, and maybe the 49ers go ahead and do that. I mean, they maybe take some deep shots and see what the secondary is about, but I like what Jaquan Brisker brings from what I saw, up close, and I just don't know if I like him overall versus Deebo Samuel, right? And which nobody is, and Brandon Ayuk is going to be scary, but that's what you want as a young football team. You want to see your young players against some of these top players and really to learn and prove themselves, and so that's what I'm looking for, just to see how well they can do, and then even in the elements. I think that's going to be huge as well.
The other reason I'm excited to see Brisker is my hope is that Jaquan Brisker's presence on this defense and in the position of strong safety allows Eddie Jackson to play free safety again. That when he first came into the league, Jackson was basically allowed to be the center fielder. Just roam the defense, be very instinctual, go where you feel the ball is going. And that's how we saw a lot of turnovers, a lot of interceptions, a lot of takeaways from Jackson those first 2 seasons. Then they said, okay, we need you to be more of a strong safety, more of an in the box, more of a, here is your assignment. You must do this assignment. And Jackson really struggled. He's not a natural willing tackler, and a box safety, you have to be willing to make those hits, to get in there, get in the scrums. And that's not Jackson's game. So hopefully having a true box safety in Brisker will allow Jackson to revert back to playing center field and let his instincts take over a little bit. Now they are switching to more of a cover 2, which is a very disciplined defense. So it can't just be, Eddie, go play wherever you want and just be how the spirit moves you to be. But hopefully he'll be allowed to be a little bit more Mike Brown, if not necessarily Troy Polamalu.
So does that mean then Raekwon Smith is going to be, he's going to try to be really right in the, he's going to play in the middle more or less, right? In that cover,
no,
in that cover 2.
No, he's actually going to be the will. He is good. I'm thrilled for this because when they drafted Roquan, Al, I don't know what your impressions were when they drafted him. I immediately started texting people as, oh, we got Lance Briggs Jr. This is so cool. This is great. And Briggs for all those years in the cover 2 was the weak side guy. So, and he's going to go into the Hall of Fame for that play in the weak side. And Eberflus has even said in his version, in his spin on the cover 2, on the Tampa 2 defense, that the will is the most important to him. He views the weak side backer as the key to the whole thing, more so than the Mike. That's why they chose to put Roquan Smith in the weak side spot.
I want to move on to, thank you so much, man. You guys,
I
love
Gina,
this group.
I had one more question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is, where is it? Hold on. I got to write it down. Hold on. Is Braxton Jones going to be able to stop Nick Bosa?
Can anybody stop Nick Bosa? Let's just preface it there.
Great question.
No.
Well, I just have one more question for the Bears fans. Kind of the opposite end. Mohamed, the big acquisition from the Colts, Trent Williams. I'm guessing that's going to be the matchup. I can't imagine Robert Quinn lining up against Trent Williams, so it's probably going to be Mohamed, right? That's the trenches game, right? Can he apply the pressure against Trent Williams? More or less.
I'll let you take this, Adam.
Okay. So I was thinking I've taken the last couple. I don't want to be a hog here, but okay. It's ideally in a perfect world, you'll see them move wherever they need to move. And just like the Niners with their constant rotation and flux of, hey, we want to have 3 or 4 bodies that we're just mixing in all the time. Ideally, that's what you'd like to see from the Bears as well. So we'll see what Mohamed can do. We'll see what Quinn can do. A guy that I am fascinated to see. I don't know if we'll see very much of him on Sunday. One of their draft picks, Dominic Brown, he was a wide receiver in college and then converted to defensive end. I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of somebody playing wide receiver and now, no, okay, I'm going to go play defensive end now. I have no idea.
Normally it's secondary, but not on the line. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You're here of, he played quarterback, but really he was a scat back, so now he's a wide receiver. I've never heard of
all-time lineups like back in the 40s where they played both.
Right, exactly. So I'm fascinated to see what this kid will do. I don't know if we'll see very much of him this Sunday. A, because it's week 1. B, he's actually on the injury report. He's one of the couple of guys that's on the injury report right now. So I don't know if we'll see very much of him. but man, I'm fascinated to see what he can do just from a athletic standpoint of what he can bring to the table as a defensive end. But yeah, to your question, to your point, hopefully we're going to see a rotation on the defensive line and not simply, okay, Quinn lines up exclusively here, Mohammed lines up exclusively here. Hopefully you'll see some rotation and some movement there on the line.
Talk about like kind of, I would say rotation wise, you talk about like depth and stuff. Obviously, Roquan Smith, they're in the middle, or Will. What I like is some of these players, these undrafted players that really showed out. Jack Sanborn out of Wisconsin, and just how he really made a place for himself. It's going to be interesting to see. If a player, if he keeps doing well, I mean, they're going to find a place for him. I'd love to see him, as part of that rotation, and just kind of with this Bears, roster, just building that depth. I mean, I think that's going to be important going forward. And you look at like a messy game too. I mean, this is going to be, it'll be interesting as well.
Yeah, the fresh grass at Soldier Field gets a rude welcoming of nothing but rain on Sunday. That'll be fun. Honestly, though, I think I don't know that the rain will give either side an advantage, quite frankly, because the Bears, I think we're going to want to, Matt Eberflus being a defensive coach, that the stereotype is defensive guys just want to run the ball. And we know that San Francisco wants to run the ball. I don't know that the rain is necessarily going to benefit one side over the other. I think both teams were going to come into this game wanting to run the ball anyway, and the rain is just going to be, it's the very easy excuse of, we had to run. It was raining. We had to run more than we passed.
The only thing I worry about that though is with the Bears' young offensive line, right? In that, I mean, we talked about that as well, going against who they're going against, I mean, that's going to be huge that way. But I mean, you're right. I think, both teams are going to want to establish, the run. And if, Lucas Patrick, if he's back, I believe he's going to be back, right?
He's been practicing. The question is, can he actually snap a football? Because it was his thumb on his snapping hand that he broke. So he's been practicing, but we'll see. They're they're playing a game with that, I think.
That's why I wondered too, because they're I believe having him at guard in front of Tevin Jenkins a little bit too, which I'm excited to see what Tevin Jenkins can do at guard as well. I mean, that was kind of interesting saga off season with him. But I mean, just with this young offensive line, that's what worries me a little bit overall. I mean, you want to have obviously game one. But against, a solid team like the 49ers, you want to have just some veterans. And so that's why it worries me a little bit, the trenches there for the Bears.
I'm glad it's worrying you only a little bit. It worries me a lot. You get of the 5 starters on the offensive line, you have a rookie and 2 guys in their second year. And I mean, you're talking a rookie left tackle, a second year right tackle who maybe his natural position is left tackle, and a second year right guard who was hurt all last year, and we still don't know what his natural position is. I mean, it's true. It is a young offensive line, and here's Nick Bosa and one of the best defensive lines in football. Have fun, guys.
Well, here's where I want to segue now. The next question is, will the 49ers have the top 3 defense in the league this season? Not can they, but will they?
Points or yards? What do you measure? What's your measure?
I mean,
there's 2
points.
They vary.
Points.
I think they're going to have to win.
Yeah.
I don't think the offense is going to score 30 points a game.
Right.
Marc, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't really care about statistics as far as where they rank, because I believe that last year they were one of the top defenses in the league. And now they had DJ Jones, and he he was the run stopper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's going to do that. Maybe Javon Kinlaw is going to be that guy, but we'll see. But I think they're going to be better than they were last year. Maybe not against the run, but overall because of the upgrade at corner. And so now with Charvarius Ward at one corner and Emmanuel Mosley at the other, and then the fact that they don't even have to rely on Josh Norman to even come close to Santa Clara. I think that in and of itself is a positive thing. But yeah, it's with I don't
He's
know
a
what's
walking
gonna
flag.
Oh, he's terrible. And he wasn't even good when he was in his prime. I mean, he had like one good season, but Jimmy Ward's going to miss the first 4 games. That scares me a little bit because I don't know what they're going to do in his place. Maybe it's going to be George Odom. Maybe it's going to be who else? Who are the other ones? Tarvarius Moore might be.
More. It's probably likely more.
Yeah, I've heard beat writers who've been watching every single practice. And I've heard half of them say it's going to be Odom and half of them say Moore. And then I heard somebody yesterday say a different name, and I don't remember. Oh, it was the guy that they just picked up. I can't think of his name, but I don't think a guy that they just picked up is going to be ready for week 1. So, but yeah, I think they're going to be really good. So statistics aside, once the playoffs hit and it's all about defense, I think they're built for that. So that's when it's going to be fun.
Just for fun here, yardage wise, the Niners were the 3rd best last year. Points allowed, they were tied for 9th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was some early in the season. There was some shaky games. Yeah.
So I guess I had a question too. So like you said, I don't remember who said that defensively they're going to have to be that high. Good, yeah, Jorge. With all the weapons that they have, I mean, are you just that low on Trey Lance then?
I put it this way: I think he'll be fine, but I can't imagine Shanahan just opening up the playbook and saying we're gonna air it out, we're gonna take chances. I think he knows the defense will be stout. Why take chances? They have the running game. They have, very precise start passing, with Debo and Ayuk.
Tayshaun Gibson.
Yeah.
Why take the risk? So I think you can see probably the first couple of games, no offense, but maybe a game like this, even with the weather, why open it up? Let's keep it conservative. I think likely the Niners feel very confident their defense, especially the defensive line against the Bears offensive line, can. I think Justin Fields is going to be on his back a lot on Sunday.
Yeah, and yeah, especially playing against what is a fifth round rookie in his first game. That's going to be interesting. But the Bears guys were talking about a young, unproven offensive line. That's really what's going to be directly in front of Trey Lance. Without excluding Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey, you've got a second-year guy at left guard who never played last year. And maybe it was because Laken Tomlinson missed one play the whole season. I think that's because his shoe came off. And then you have a rookie who every team in the league passed on 4 times in Spencer Burford at right guard. And then you have Jake Brendel, who we really don't know what to expect at center. Right. The only thing we know about him is that the offensive line coach really pushed for the 49ers to get him. And when they did, Kyle Shanahan has since said he's better than he expected him to be. So I think they're high on Brendel, but that interior line's unproven. So that remains to be seen.
Yeah, the whole what I've seen on Twitter is everyone questioning the center position. Everyone's still up in arms about it.
Yeah, but they're big on him. So...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Alex Mack retired, and he retired late.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think people. I don't know about the front office, but I thought he was going to play one more year. It sounded like he wanted one more year, so maybe they were not prepared.
Yeah, somebody asked me. I was on a podcast earlier this week, and somebody asked the question, "Why weren't they better prepared?" And I said the only conclusion that I can come to is that they are high on Jake Brendel. And so the fans aren't. The fans are scared, but the 49ers seem to be high on him. So I'm hoping that that's the case because Kyle Shanahan doesn't put a whole lot into his guards. He spends money at tackle, spends very little at guard, but he puts a lot on his center, and so that part's going to be interesting to see.
How much will the blocking in the offense be affected by Kittle being out? Because I mean, he's a pretty good blocker, right?
Yeah, he's the best blocking tight end in the league. So, yeah.
They just signed a pretty good blocker though this week too, didn't they? Tyler Croft.
Right.
Jorge, he's more of a receiving tight end, didn't he?
Yeah,
He
from
can
what
block
I've
too,
read.
though.
Okay. Haven't got a chance to really check him out.
I mean,
but,
you have Dwelly
we have
Warner.
Warner's.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of an
Maybe Tyler
unsung hero.
Croft's gonna be a
He opens
sneaky-
stuff
Yeah,
up,
I like Warner.
Yeah, when Kittle, Kittle's been injured the last 2 years, so
That's actually
he's filled in. He's filled in pretty admirably.
now that's
Niner?
one of the questions we have on here we can get is George Kittle injury prone, and why do you think that if you do, or why don't you?
That's my Iowa guy. Let's be easy on him.
I know I love George Kittle.
Yeah.
Well, he
We
also
love
told you
him,
happy
but-
birthday, damn it.
He's a Hawkeye.
He told you happy birthday
and
too, you know.
And
Yeah,
he
that
told
was-
me
I saw
happy
that.
birthday.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
nice.
right.
That was cool. Yeah, it's the same reason that we love him is the same reason that he gets hurt a lot, because he plays with his hair on fire.
Yeah.
He won't he's not going to get down. He's not going to step out of bounds. He wants to hurt people every play, and that's what makes him special.
Right.
But it's also what hurts the team because he misses a lot.
He plays right in the middle of the field too. That's where the bullets are
Yeah.
flying, you know?
Right.
Well, that's because that's where Jimmy Garoppolo throws the ball. So hopefully,
You beat
hopefully
me.
next
You beat
year.
me. You beat me to it. You beat me to
hopefully
it.
this year that won't be the case.
Having
Well,
to
the
catch
other
the
thing-
ball over his damn,
Wasn't it-
like,
is it
Well, we learned where to
2
throw
years
the ball
ago?
in the middle of the field from the guy who learned to throw the ball, that throws the ball in the middle of the field, and that's Tom Brady.
Wasn't it opening day 2 years ago against the Cardinals? He got
Yeah.
it was a quick out, and
Yep.
he was wide open. And he had to leap, and then the guy, he's in the air,
Mhm.
knees, all the legs. I'm like, first game.
Yeah. He almost ended up missing the season because of that
Yeah,
one play.
yeah.
Yeah.
whew. So
You had to say the G word.
You know,
so
that's what happens when
but
you have these guys that go all out. They're bound to get injured.
what I
kinda
want to
like-
know though is there more pressure on Trey Lance or Kyle Shanahan if Trey Lance doesn't perform up to speed? Like if and I know their rain is going to be a factor, and we're probably going to play conservatively, run the ball, things like that. I'm worried also about special teams. There were a lot of flags, a lot of penalties in the preseason. I'm just wondering, like, who's the blame going to be shifted on if Lance doesn't perform well?
It's Shanahan. He drafted him. It's his job is in Trey Lance's hands.
I would agree that that's where the blame is going to go, but the pressure is going to be on Trey Lance.
Okay, good.
Especially, I don't think that Trey Lance is really bothered by the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is back. Every other position has to compete, so there's no reason why the quarterback shouldn't either. But I think that he's going to be under a lot of pressure. He was going to be under a lot of pressure anytime you're quarterback of this team with the pedigree of Joe Montana, Steve Young. There's going to be pressure at that position. And so that was already going to be there. But having Garoppolo there, I think, is adding to that pressure.
I want to chime on this real quick too, if I can.
Yeah, of course.
I want to preface this by saying I was a Fields fan before the Bears drafted him. It's not just because he's the Bears quarterback, but I think an interesting wrinkle coming into this game, especially if Fields outplays Lance, I think there's a ton of pressure then on Shanahan, because you then you get that storyline of you picked the wrong guy. I was saying they picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
April of 21 when it happened. It was, why in the 4-letter expletives are you taking Trey Lance when Justin Fields is right there? And then everything happened. But I think if Fields outplays him, I'm not saying he will. I'm just, if it happens, then. But how would you guys take that though? If Fields outplays Lance,
it's going to be a huge story.
On Lance or on Shanahan? But does that mean Lance screwed up or Shanahan screwed up?
Yeah, 49ers Twitter is going to melt down if that happens. But there's one interesting part of this is that there's a story that Shanahan and Lynch went to watch Justin Fields' pro day.
I heard this story.
On the 49ers jet on the way home, Lynch looks over and Shanahan's writing out plays, and he's excited like a little kid, and he's writing out plays for what he wanted to do with Trey Lance, not the guy he had just seen. So that's really interesting. I wanted Justin Fields, but my concern was I just the things that I'd heard made me wonder maturity wise if he was going to be as strong. Now I don't know the guy. That's just you know how things are pre-draft, but I mean these Bears guys would know much better. But I was hoping for Fields, and if it wasn't going to be him, I right under that wanted Lance. I didn't want Mac Jones.
I think we're on the same page.
and maybe Mac Jones ends up being the best one of them all. I don't know, but we'll see.
He had a pretty fair season, as a rookie.
High floor with Mac Jones.
He doesn't have anyone to throw to.
Yeah.
Low ceiling with Jones.
The whole thing with Trey Lance is interesting because, I actually used to live in Fargo and I went to several NDSU football games. They play in a dome. Right. They play fast, play in a dome. And then, he only played the one game, that the season before he was drafted, or, he didn't play very much. And so when you look at that, it'll just be interesting to see how he plays in the elements. And I get it, even college, he played in some elements as well, but, and he's from small town Minnesota, so he's a small town guy and all that. And he's a talented guy, but it's going to, it takes any quarterback, any rookie quarterback a little while to develop, right? Even back to Peyton Manning, it takes them a while to develop. And I don't know. It'll be interesting, that the comparisons are going to be there. And a lot of that's media driven, right? Mm-hmm. But as an outside looking in, sounds what you guys are saying, they are all in on Trey Lance, regardless of the noise, and I think Fields has had a chance to be a starter. Trey Lance has not. And so in my outside opinion, I just see him getting a little bit more leash that way, especially if, say, Fields, has, I don't know, throw 3 touchdowns, run. Just has a stellar game, whatever he does. If he outplays Lance, but the 49ers win, right? And I think, and that's going to be an important point as well, because, if he's conservative, they're just kind of, ease him in. And quite frankly, maybe the Bears might be a little bit, conservative with Fields as well. They've kind of, in training camp, they've kind of just been, toying around a little bit and haven't really opened the playbook up. And now they may, or maybe with the elements, maybe they don't. So who knows with that? I think I like where Fields is right now. And when I look at him, he doesn't have the pressure because the Bears aren't expected to win, right? And Trey Lance doesn't have pressure, in my opinion, either, because he's not supposed to be the reason why the 49ers win, right? And obviously, with what Garoppolo tried to do against the Packers, trying to give them a game, if Trey Lance just doesn't do that, I think all will be well on the national media front. Now, obviously, team Twitter is a little bit different. So,
one thing I wanted to ask Bears and Niners fans is, Can the Bears defense shut down Trey Lance in tomorrow's game? I mean, not tomorrow. Sunday's game.
We don't know what to expect. I mean, we don't know what to expect from the interior of the 49ers offensive line. We don't truly know what to expect from Trey Lance. I mean, last year he looked like a rookie playing his first game when he played against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, in his defense, his teammates were horrible that game. There were so many holding calls, and he converted some 3rd and longs, converted maybe a 4th down or 2. And so I felt like every time he would do something really good, it would get brought back because of a holding call or something like that. But then in that Houston Texans game, when they had to win, they don't win that game, they don't go to the playoffs.
Right.
And he
right.
he had progressed so much from the Arizona game to that Houston game that we all were like, okay, that's what I'm building my hope on, is the fact that if he keeps getting better like that, then we're going to be just fine.
And it was the second half of that Texans game.
Right.
Yeah.
The first half was really bad. I was there at that game. We were just all shaking our heads like, oh my God, this is going to go bad. And then we're like, oh, good, after halftime. I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Mark, you hit it right there, though, that we don't know. We've only seen Trey Lance 2 starts, 3 or 4 games total. The Bears defense that they are now switching to is beautiful in its simplicity, and it's amazing how frustrating it can be to quarterbacks with how simple it is. At the same time, Eberflus and Alan Williams, now the defensive coordinator for the Bears, they were both in Indianapolis last year, and when they were together with Eberflus running things but Williams as one of his top lieutenants, they blitzed a lot. And if Lance doesn't recognize when, where, how the Bears will be blitzing, that could make for a very, very long day for any quarterback. But because there's just so little professional tape out there on Lance, it's really hard to know. Yeah, the Bears could absolutely shut him down just because Lance is so green, or he could have, to reference another Bears-Niners game, this could be Monday night where Colin Kaepernick shows the world that he's ready to play football. I mean, both are possible. We just don't know.
You know, and to that point as well, during training camp, the Bears defensive line was, dominating the offensive line and getting to Fields quite a bit. And so it'll be interesting this game, to see maybe it is, both sides, maybe it's a low scoring game. Maybe both offenses aren't able to, get on track because of that. It's early on, and that pressure and on both quarterbacks, and it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, this Bears coaching staff, if they, Fields has a rough first half, if they make some adjustments in the second half, which the previous Bears coaching staff never did, and Nagy just dropped the ball, and so I think that'll be important to see. Maybe both quarterbacks and how they adjust. I think the second half will probably be important in this game for sure.
Yeah, one thing that's going to be interesting is if the Bears do blitz a lot, is that Steve Young said that he spent some time this summer with Trey Lance, and he says that Trey Lance is elite when it comes to processing. His concern for Trey Lance is his accuracy. And that's my concern as well. So, but from Steve Young's perspective, who was a very heady quarterback, that had to get out of his head and studied a lot, he said that Trey Lance has all of that. So I don't know that even though he's pretty inexperienced, he may not have the problems catching, seeing the blitz come in and figuring out where to go like the typical young quarterback would, but we'll see. It all goes out the window when everything's real.
Well, and overall, he's got the better talent, to, at least, bail him out, if
Right.
Debo's there, and I think, but beyond Mooney, we don't know for the Bears, right? And I know Equanimous St. Brown, right? The day that I went to camp, he just looked unsure of himself, and it was interesting because I know in the rest of the camp he supposedly was doing well and everything, and I just I don't feel comfortable with him as the number 2 wide receiver, so when you look at young quarterbacks having like safety blankets and it had the 49ers had Kittle, I think that would have been huge, and it might have been even more of a blowout. But you have those safety blankets, and for the Bears, maybe Cole Kmet becomes that safety blanket this year. His hands seem to be getting better, be able to catch better, and if they use him better in the offense, I think that's going to be huge as well. But overall, yeah, I mean, hopefully he steps up, but you look at it, and the 49ers just overall have those playmakers that can really maybe make Trey Lance look better.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's Debo. I'd much rather have Debo Samuel as my safety valve than I'm not even sure who the Bears' third receiver is right now because everybody else is hurt.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
I'm not sure. But Adam brought up a good point. Like, will the Bears just apply the pressure on Lance and saying, "Hey, beat us," but knowing that they have Elijah Mitchell, who I think is going to have a big game. Knowing they have Elijah Mitchell, knowing that they have even Juszczyk. These are kind of games I think that Juszczyk just loves to play in.
Yeah,
he loves playing the games that are a little messy, a little rough on the edges, and Debo Samuel, like, you don't know if he's going to land at running back, slot. You just never know under center. You don't know where he's going to be. So I'm sure that that's the cat and mouse game, right? Will the Bears just sell out on Trey Lance and saying, let's see if this kid can beat us?
Yeah, one thing that we haven't talked about on the opposite side of the ball is that Mooney, he's the slot guy, right? And so he's going to be playing against a rookie, Samuel Womack. And throughout training camp and the preseason, Womack was great, but everything changes when it's the regular season. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup.
For sure. Speaking of, sort of breakout, like Womack was our breakout during the preseason. We can go Niners and Bears, but I had posed this question to you guys before the show. Which player will have a breakout season? And we could do Niners and Bears. Jorge, who do you think?
Well, does Elijah Mitchell qualify? Or
yeah,
last year
yes.
Was last year's his breakout, or because he was a second half breakout, right?
Right.
To me, it's Elijah.
Okay, cool. Mark?
I think it's going to be Brandon Ayuk.
Okay.
Please.
I'm cool. I'm cool with Elijah Mitchell. I wonder with Mitchell though. I mean, he's already hurt. I think he's going to play Sunday, but since Jeff Wilson Jr. is healthy, since they have Ty Davis Price, I don't know how much. I don't know if Mitchell is going to carry the load like he did a year ago, because a year ago, once Raheem Mostert went down, there really wasn't anybody else because Trey Sermon never became the player that they wanted. So I wonder if Kyle's going to take some of the pressure off of Mitchell, which would mean he's going to be taking some of the carries away. If not, Mitchell can do it. That guy is great. But yeah, I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be the guy this year. I think he's going to have better numbers than Debo. That would be my prediction.
And hey, Adam, Mr. Driving to the Top Productions, what about you? Who do you think is going to be, a breakout on either Bears or 49ers or both?
I like Byron Pringle for the Bears. I think he's going to be a sneaky breakout Because he's used to a running quarterback with Patrick Mahomes. I think he's got a chance to be a little sneaky play in there.
He's used to going in circles.
Right.
Going nuts.
And I have Ayuk and Mitchell, so I'm hoping they both do what you guys are talking about on my fantasy team.
Yay! And
I got Ayuk really late, like 11th, 12th round, something in that figure. It really threw me off. In one of my leagues, Andy, I'm in like 4. I'm not like Gina. I think Gina's in more than me now.
I was going to be in 4, but I don't know what happened. So I'm definitely in 3. It's my first time doing multiple leagues. And Adam, we should definitely do a fantasy show like this week. But Andy and Adam, what do you guys? You want to go Bears and Niners? Who's having a breakout season?
Well, I want to speak something into existence here for a couple reasons, and I am an Iowa Hawkeye, so I'm going to speak Amir Smith-Marset cracking the lineup and being a go-to wide receiver. I liked what he did with the Vikings. Hopefully he. Listen, like talent-wise, I think he's better than Pringle and all that. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love to see that him, kind of break out. And obviously, I don't think it's going to happen this game. But other than him, I would just, maybe it's not a sexy pick, but I might be Braxton Jones on the offensive line.
Hey,
I have to let my heart guide me on this one. I so want it to be Fields. I so want it. I don't really understand how it can be because the talent around him is so screams rebuilding. It just screams. We're taking the season off, guys.
It whispered. Come on, it doesn't scream. It whispered.
We're gonna take the North and never get it back. Oh wait, Rodgers isn't leaving. Never mind. Everybody forget I said that.
Oh come on, the Vikings are winning the division this year.
Thanks, Ty, for agreeing with me.
That'd be wonderful. I'd be all for it.
Vikings.
I'd be all for that. But
one sleeper that I think maybe on the Niners on the defensive end, I think Ambry Thomas can be a sleeper breakout player this year. They were different when he was. They were different, I think, when he was kind of more like. I mean, he was also a second half player. You kind of saw a difference once he was on the field more. So I think he could be a breakout player as well.
And it's his birthday today.
Oh, there you go.
Happy birthday, Ambry Thomas.
Happy birthday, dude.
Another good candidate for the Bears, somebody that we've already talked about a few times, is Cole Kmet. That's another guy that would be a really easy breakout because just the system and now the lack of having Jimmy Graham and other tight end options around him. It'd be
Ryan Griffin's not a bad tight end.
Hey, I gotta hold Ryan Griffin's helmet at practice.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, he's just another guy. It has to be Kmet.
Yeah, it's a quarterback's two best friends are a good running back and a good tight end. We've got David Montgomery, who is certainly, we can get into a whole conversation there, but he certainly gets the job done. And now to have Cole Kmet be able to step into that role, that would do a lot for helping Justin Fields in this offense this season.
Sounds good, you guys. So
Gina, I got the text from the family. They're on their way. I got family in town. We have a family wedding tomorrow. I got family that's going to use my spare room. So I got voluntold they're using my spare office bed. So I got family.
Handle it.
Yeah, they're about 5-6 minutes away. So I have a little bit of time.
Okay. Yeah, I know how that goes. So yeah, gosh, this has been great. Hey, you guys, any lasting things you guys want to say? You want to hype up, the Bears? You want to say anything like, any score predictions for the game? Like, what are we favored by? I know Niners are favored, right?
Actually, yes, but the line has actually been going down.
It's going down.
I have one question for the Niner guys. What was Shanahan laughing about with the captain picks, or he laughed it off, or what's going on with that?
Well, they usually have seven?
Seven, yeah.
And this year they only picked 6, and Trey Lance had the 7th most votes. And so I think people were making a big deal about, hey, shouldn't he be the team captain? And Shanahan,
so it was nothing.
Yeah, Shanahan basically said, look, I'm the one that counted them, so I could have cheated if I wanted to, but he wants to see Lance earn it. So I think that it's much ado about nothing.
I was just checking. I read that as one of the headlines today.
As is so many week 1 storylines.
Yeah.
The line is 13, by the way, Gina. 13 points.
So is the line dropping? Is it dropping because of the weather? Is that
probably
kind of what they're?
Probably.
It's probably wait.
Wait, Bears plus 13 is the line currently?
That's what I see.
Why is everyone predicting a score like 23-20, 17-14? I saw. Are they already counting in the weather or what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I looked at. No, I'm sorry. I looked at the wrong game. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It's 6.5. Sorry, 6.5. 6.5.
There we go. I was gonna say it moved an entire touchdown from this morning. What the hell?
I was looking at the wrong game. Sorry, it's a college game. I have the line. I had double.
Unless you tweaked it a little bit, Jorge.
Jorge has the inside edge on the draft.
I got college games in here, and I had the wrong screen up. Sorry about that.
That'll do it.
The 6.5 makes sense.
Not 13.5, folks.
Yeah.
Julie says it's extra for no reason.
I feel like it is going to be like a 24-14 or 24-17 Niners win. I just Gold is going to get at least a field goal coming back into town, right? I think, but I just don't think the Bears have enough, playmakers to really, especially with Velus Jones, out. I don't know how much they would use him, but that's another dynamic, another thing that the defense would have to worry about, and just getting him in space, I think, just with how quick he is, would be huge, and hopefully it's going to be huge later on in the year. I just don't think the Bears have enough.
I think the way it's going to end is that Richard Hightower is going to put Dante Pettis back to return a punt, and he's going to fumble, and Robbie Gold's going to kick the winning field goal. That's how it's going to.
I was going to ask. I was going to bring up Dante Pettis. Is this like his return game or
revenge game?
And Richard Hightower's revenge game, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
So this is another week 1 NFL great matchup where they get their Von Miller last night going back to LA, and Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco going at it, and then you have the whole Cleveland Baker Mayfield game. Now we have Dante Pettis and Hightower going up against their former teams, and then the Monday night extravaganza. And then I don't know what's the big deal about this Dallas Tampa game? What's so big about this?
It's Dallas, Tom Brady.
I mean,
what
I
more do they need to do
understand
to
what
hype
the
it?
teams are, but they were making a big deal about it, and I don't understand why.
I hate Dallas, so who cares? I'm saying 24-10 Niners.
20-6.
Sorry, Gina, I got off topic.
Niners.
24-10 Niners. Boom. That's it. Like I said before, we're going 14-3. Yes, I said it. I said what I said. I'm a Niner fan. I don't care.
I think 20-6.
You can drag me all over Twitter. I love it. Bring it on.
I think it's gonna be 3-0.
Nice.
That was like the Commanders when it was 2019 when we only got a field goal. And Nick Bosa was slipping and sliding.
Monsoon.
Yeah. Oh
and
my gosh.
You got to skid out there. You got to scat.
Same. Quick trivia. Quick trivia, guys. Since we have Bears fans on here. Joe Montana won one road playoff game, postseason game. Who was it against and when?
The Bears
Well,
in 1989, January of '89.
You got it, Marc.
Woo!
I was going to say it had to be against the Bears and in the 80s.
Yep. The championship game, yeah.
Yeah, the Soldier Field game I remember though was 1985 when I was wishing that Joe Montana would not play that game, because that was that Bears team that murdered quarterbacks.
Yeah,
yeah. I didn't want Montana in that game,
and was proud to do so too.
Yeah, those guys mind sitting out that game. That defense was nasty.
Oh yeah, that was the greatest.
Oh, God.
For this game, 24-13 feels really right. I think the line for the total score is down to like 40.5, which is, I don't bet for. I know that those that do, that's a hard line to bet. Take the under. Take the under. This is not going to be high scoring. This is going to be a low scoring, old school black and blue kind of football game. Not a lot of points.
I say 20-6. Niners.
24-10. All right, guys. I know a couple of you have to bounce. I'm gonna thank you right now for joining me for the 4th episode of Reppin' with Gina G. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you to my guests, Andy, Adam Karnik, Marc, Jorge, and the guy who runs the ship, Adam. On Wednesday, I'll be repping the Niners with the folks from Nothing But Niners Crew and Nitty Gritty Niners for an overreaction show right here on Reppin' with Gina G. Do not miss it. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and subscribe on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. And last but not least, go Niners. And thank you all for joining me. I hope you all had fun. And you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. You guys are the best. So thank you. And I'm going to do my outgoing stuff
you
here.
Didn't give them Miss Gina, you didn't give them a chance to give.
I didn't. You're right. You guys, please plug your shows.
Go ahead out there.
The guys that have to bail, you go first.
Yeah, the guys have to bail. You go first.
Yep, NFL Outdated on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, and Friesen 4 NFC North podcast. And we had some great stuff with the Vikings and Packers every Wednesday, 8:30 CST.
Nice.
Jorge Castillo at East Bay Jorge. You can always catch me usually almost every evening on the Twitter Spaces talking the beautiful game of football, soccer. Mostly covering the United States and a lot of CONCACAF. We have primarily a lot of Latin American guys like myself who are first-generation Americans, and we just talk soccer. But usually while we're talking soccer, there's like another game going on, so we're in there too. So talking chill. Thank you so much, Gina. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you, and glad meeting you all.
Nice meeting you, Jorge.
Hey,
yeah, absolutely.
You. And guys, if you're gonna, thank you. And if anyone wants to stick around after, we're gonna be behind the scenes. And that's gonna do it for the show. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you next time.
Bottom two.